Hi, cousins, and welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia J, and I'm so glad that you came to spend a few minutes of time to be with me here today. I see you're growing and you're glowing, and I love this look on you, but let's talk about your confidence because I think that it's time to work on it. And as we go ahead and get into this video, I just want to preface a few things. When I give you the tips for this week, I don't want you to compare yourself to other people. That's going to be my main point. But I want you to focus on what you want and how you want to show up and what your version of authenticity looks like. But I'm so glad that you're here today. And let's get ready to dive into another mindful discussion. So we're talking about something that's very powerful, but it's also a little bit of an uncomfortable topic, and it's confidence. Confidence is one of those things that we all want more of, but honestly, it doesn't normally feel natural to present. I always like to say I'm an extroverted introvert. Um, I present myself extroverted when I'm out in social settings, but on the inside, I'm I don't necessarily want to be here. I don't necessarily want to talk to all these people or whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying I can relate to the fact that confidence doesn't always feel natural. But sometimes stepping out into your own confidence means stepping outside of what's familiar, into that little uncomfortable gray area, that space where we have to confront our fears and we have to confront our doubts and the possibility of rejection or the possibility of failure. But that discomfort, that gray area, that space and energy that you feel, that's where the real power is, because it's the opportunity and the space that you need for growth. And that's where real growth happens. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about how we can increase our confidence, why confidence feels so hard sometimes, and how it's tied to vulnerability, and kind of really where you can tie in your faith and your authenticity and your confidence together. So if you haven't already, I haven't really told you guys to do this in a while, but go ahead and take some notes. Watch this in 2x speed. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to try to do this video with no cuts so I can get it all out. But today we're focusing on the scripture from Hebrews chapter 10, verse 35. And that says, "So do not throw away your confidence, because it will be richly rewarded." I was so happy when I was doing research for this episode and I saw this scripture. Now, while it is taken out of context with regards to the meaning of confidence in this particular chapter, it was referencing your confidence in God's ability and God's promise and his ability to satisfy that promise that he made to you. Ultimately your faith, and that's really where it ties everything in. But the way that confidence shows up is the same way that confidence is going to show up in your regular life. So even though it's taken out of that context, it's still applicable in the way that would work to your greater benefit, because when you are confident, you are going to be rewarded, because you're going to be rewarded with growth. So let's break that down a little bit, again, with a little bit more context. So the scripture is telling us to not let go of our confidence, even when we're facing challenges or doubts. For so many of us, I feel like confidence feels fragile, it's very, it's something that can easily be shaken or easily be broken at the right, or if I should say the wrong situations or circumstances arises, because it's shaken by other people's opinions. It's shaken by other people's fears, and Like when things don't go according to plan. For instance, you may feel really confident in the outfit that you're wearing, but as soon as you have like two or three people say, "What are those?" Okay, yeah, but yeah, as soon as somebody says like, "What are those?" Like you're like, "Dang, is my shoes even fly anymore? Like, am I even like, do I even look good?" But like that's a part of like your confidence that we're talking about, like how other people can shake it. And your confidence shouldn't be like a paper in the wind. It should not be able to fly away just at the slightest like blow. You know what I'm saying? It should be rooted deeply in your faith. Number one. Number two, it should be rooted deeply in your own sense of self. And it should be rooted in just the confidence behind your ability of being able to do whatever it is that you need to have confidence in. For example, like your skills, if you're talking about confidence in like a job or a career, let's say you have a skill of presenting, and maybe you've gotten some feedback in the past about how you could improve your presenting, and you're just internalizing that. So now your confidence is down. Now you're taking an extra few steps that you necessarily didn't need to take to be able to present, just because you are overcompensating for the lack of confidence that you now have based off of the feedback that you received. So those are like just a few things that, you know, when I say like it's relevant to your everyday life, but everything goes back to your sense of self and also your personal values and your faith. Like all those come together, but it also deals with, for you to have your sense of self, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be able to come out of your shell and take a look inwards and realize what are things that you can work on, what are things that you have goals for that don't necessarily align with where you are in life right now. So having those things in your mind, that would be really my first step to become self-aware. So I would make a list about what strengths you actually bring to the table. And it sounded like a red pill guy right there. What do you bring to the table? But no, what strengths do you actually have, and how does that compare to if you made a list of goals that had no bounds? Like, don't restrict what you can actually do. Don't say I can't do something. You can do something. How you're going to get there, though, is the question. So you're going to make a list of strengths and a list of weaknesses or opportunities, because we want to be mindful of what we're going to call those opportunities. We don't want to say weaknesses, because you're not weak. You're very strong. You're very strong, even if you don't feel that way. But we are going to outline the opportunities, because that's where we're going to focus our growth. We're going to talk about like what makes you unique, because a lot of times I feel like trends happen and everybody wants to be a part of the trends, but you don't have to be a part of the trend all of the time. You literally can be your own person. I literally call myself weird all the time, and I do not care. I am weird, and I love that for me because I don't want to be normal. I don't want to fit inside of a box. If I wanted to look like a cookie cutter, I do that. But I don't want to be a cookie cutter. I want to be, when I walk in the room, I want people to remember me because I'm different. I'm Alicia. I'm Alicia J. You know what I'm saying? Like, not not being like cocky with it, but just knowing that my presence is of value. Like, I, to be in my presence means that you're going to walk away with something, because that's what I bring. Like, I bring the energy, I bring the joy, I bring the weirdness, but that weirdness may be something that's new for you. Like, that's how confidence should exude. Even if you're an introvert, even if you are, or an extrovert, it doesn't matter. But your confidence should exude in that fashion. People say I'm him or I'm her, but like, are you really? Are you really? And when somebody asks you that, your answer should be absolutely. That's what we're talking about. You're going to embrace that discomfort. And yes, I have notes here, but it doesn't matter because I want to make sure I'm staying on track for you guys. But yeah, so we need to address and embrace the discomfort. A lot of times, like I said, your confidence can be shaken by other people's opinions. And when you have that confidence shaken, it it really can define your day if you're not careful. But knowing that that discomfort, like those opinions, don't really matter. The only really the main opinion that matters is your own. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're trying to do something new, who cares? I think that for me, I want to do something new now. I'm not gonna say what it is. I might later. I don't know. But I want to do something new now that I literally never seen anyone in my family do, none of my friends do. But I want to do it because it looks cool. I want to do it because I think I'm gonna actually like it. But when I get there, and I'm gonna do it by myself. When I get there, I don't know like how I'm gonna feel. It's gonna be a little awkward because it's not something that, again, it's not something that my family does. It's not something that my friends do. I'm not saying that I don't have anyone to go with, but I want that experience to be of my own. So I'm exploring really my opportunity for me to grow and find a new hobby, and develop myself into more of the person that I want to be, and not really, again, worried about being comfortable because I don't want to be comfortable. I want to be happy. And sometimes being comfortable doesn't necessarily make you happy. And I kind of like, I want to expand on that, but I feel like you guys can understand where I'm coming from, and what I mean. So maybe I'll expand on that later. But yeah, I just want you to know I don't want to be comfortable. I want to be happy, and I'm sure that you want to be happy too. So we're gonna talk about like even after like once I start that hobby, I'm gonna celebrate that because I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. Like when I first became single, I didn't I didn't know like really like how to be by myself. I was always with a friend or I was always with my ex-husband at the time. Like I didn't or a family member like my sisters. I didn't really know like how to be like by myself for real. So I always had other people around me. So one thing that I wanted to be able to do is like date myself, like be able to go out by myself, be in my own energy, and not be bored or not be like sad that I'm in my own energy. So I mean that was like one of the main things that like really brought like purpose to me, and um, it brought confidence to me as well because it's like it's some power like in being able to, yeah, I'm sitting here at the center table by myself and I'm having a good meal and I'm happy because I don't have to worry about other people's opinions or how I'm looking or how I'm chewing. Like I'm happy. Like it's good to be with yourself, and I'm not saying don't hang out with other people, but take time to know yourself, take time to explore yourself, but celebrate when you do step out of that comfort zone and you step into that confidence building air. Like that's where I want to do. And like I was mentioning earlier, like the last step, I mean, I'm going to combine these two, but the last few steps is to like silence the negative talk, but also to trust the process and be patient. So for me, like I said earlier, when I used the word weaknesses, but I auto corrected it to opportunities, that's a part of being self aware. Like you don't want to talk down on yourself. My sister, she says, oh my gosh, it's so funny. She says, I'm not broke, but my funds haven't arrived yet. Like, you want to talk in a way that brings positivity to you, like you're manifesting positivity to yourself. You don't want to talk negative, like you're not weak, like you are strong. You have the ability to do better, to be better. So that's an opportunity, it's not a weakness. You have strengths that you can build upon. You are able to be confident. So I just feel like um, you don't have to add fuel to the existing fire of external critics that is always going to exist because it's the internet, it's the environments that we are in, it's the political climate that we're in, it's traumas and everything like that. Like you can't filter those things out. for yourself for other people, right? But you can filter out the negativity that you spew against yourself. And so, like, starting to think about and being self-aware, but starting to think about like how you can reframe like the way you talk about yourself, the way you're trying to encourage yourself, or realize like, hey, yeah, I could have did that better, but like, yeah, you could have did that better, but what else did you do great? Like, you don't want to minimize the opportunities, right? You still want to maximize your opportunities, and the way that you handle those and address those, but you don't want to kind of harp on that negativity, if that makes sense. And yeah, of course, like, confidence is not going to be built overnight. However, you're going to start to see like people be naturally attracted to you, naturally like flinging to you, clinging to you, because they people always want confidence. You're gonna see the way that, when you smile at someone across the street, they're gonna give you the biggest smile back, because ultimately, like, you're going to start to glow. Like, and I know I say you're growing and you're glowing always, but like, that's literally what I mean. When you work on yourself, like, I like, you can just feel that energy, like you can see that energy, and that's really like what I want for you guys, and I really want for myself. Like, I continue to work on my confidence all the time. I don't think I'm ever going to not be an introvert. I don't think I'm ever not going to be that, but I do have the ability to appear extroverted, so I like that. I like being social sometimes, but um, there's a limit to my social ability and my social battery, but um yeah, I really honestly hope that this video resonated with my folks today. Um, yeah, I mean, it was really nice talking to you guys. And of course, like I said, you're growing and you're glowing always. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.